Some new trademarks are getting filed. AEW may have ducked some execution. And a couple injuries to talk about this week on Wrestling with the Business.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite professional wrestling commentary show, Wrestling with the Business. I am the varsity athlete, Jeremy Bodette. With me, as always, is the Professor Matthew Lambert and the GM, the man himself, Dan Shevlin. At the top of the show, let's start. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Guys, we're doing this for you. Give us some likes, give us some comments, give us some shares. Spread the word. Level-headed commentary. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. What you guys want to see. So please share us. That's the best thing you can do.
You don't want Jeremy to start trolling you.
Let's not threaten the audience. It's a little early yet.
Can I ask a question? What's with the scarf?
What? You mean my Burberry scarf? I always have to wear my scarf when I wear my MJF shirt.
No, okay. Oh, I couldn't tell. Okay, that makes sense. I couldn't see the shirt from here.
He's a generational talent. I don't know if you guys know that.
That makes sense.
I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit about
Matt's
MJF.
all decked up.
Merry
It seemed
Christmas,
appropriate.
bitch.
Merry Christmas. I like the sweater. I wore an ugly sweater last week that was all lighting up too. It has some words I probably can't say on here, but
Right.
Let's keep it
Let's
PG-13.
Yeah, we don't swear in the show at all.
no, of course not.
Fucking kidding me.
There have been some trademark filings that WWE and AEW have done. One of particular interest might give us a hint at future angles. Tribal Air has been filed by WWE, indicating maybe what they're going to do with Solo Sikoa. I believe.
Not Jimmy Uso?
I believe, yeah. Well, he was supposed to be the future, right? Or was that Jay? I can't remember.
It's got to be the future for somebody, but who? I don't know if
Solo. It's Solo. So when Reigns came back for SmackDown, he had mentioned how he was the heir. He had
The
specifically
story
said.
is Jimmy was expecting it to be him, and it went to Solo.
So
Solo's the younger brother of the
Solo
twins,
really?
right?
I mean,
he's quite a bit younger. Yeah, he's I think 5 years. I mean, he's quite a bit younger. So
I don't know with Solo. I don't think he has it.
I don't think he has it either.
He's great for the spot he has now, which is standing behind Roman and not saying a word.
tough
He's a
guy.
good heavy.
I mean, yeah. I don't see him being a big no pun intended, a big solo person. I mean, I don't.
Well,
he's not gonna be a solo talent. That's my. I don't think he's gonna.
They're gonna try to make him into it. Either
I
way,
think they have quite a ways to go with Roman Reigns. I gotta imagine, with some new players in town.
Yeah,
I mean,
right now.
Randy Orton's gonna be a while.
This is just a storyline. It's if Solo ever does get to that point, it's not going to be for a long time.
Right. They're probably protecting it, getting it ahead of time, and.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's X amount of
Can
money
you
to
really
file
trademark that though?
Tribal Air?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Well, you can trademark it in reference to
Wrestling.
entertainment, sports entertainment, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a little
suppose.
more curious about this AEW trademark, just hologram.
Hologram. Yeah, they trademarked
is that supposed
hologram.
to be a gimmick, or are they going to have holographic wrestlers now? What?
Would you trademark a finishing move?
Oh, okay, name of a finishing move. Okay.
No, I think it's gonna be someone's name.
Hologram.
Yeah, why not?
Yes, I mean, if you got Commander,
comes
if
hologram.
you got, it would have to be somebody masked, I would think.
A lucha, yeah.
Yeah, a
can see
lucha
that.
or something like that. But could little hints at the future, right? This is how the business affects things. Speaking of the business, let's zoom out here. So there have been some reports lately of potentially Warner Brothers Discovery merging with Paramount. This would be pretty incredible, and I don't want to go too deep into this because as far as rumors are concerned, I mean, this is as rumor gets, but apparently, according to Axios, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, had discussions with Paramount Global CEO Bob Bakish on Tuesday in New York City talking about potentially a merger. In addition, Zaslav also talked with Sherry Redstone, who holds a controlling stake in Paramount Global, regarding a potential, should we say, amalgamation, I guess,
Yeah,
of
I
the two
think
companies.
Redstone was looking to sell her shares or something recently.
And she may
kicked out
potentially-
Mjf'S and then went the whole Paramount merger, and yeah, she's a big player.
Paramount obviously has their own list of huge successes, right? Everything that Taylor Sheridan touches, whether it be Yellowstone or Mayor of Kingstown or whoever, seems to take off.
Yeah, they have those for sure, but there's not much else they do have that's turned much of a profit.
What they don't do is sports, which would be an interesting. They really don't do.
They're in sports. They're CBS.
Correct. CBS owns them. But what I'm saying is
the streaming service.
right. I'm talking about the streaming
yeah,
service.
yeah.
So if you want, because that's clearly the market they're going to go into. You're not going to see wrestling on Channel 6. You know what I'm saying? They're going to put it on Paramount
I
Plus.
thought they did have like soccer or something on the streaming service.
Well, yeah, I guess what I
Premier
mean is
League or
American mainstream
Right.
type stuff. Yeah, you might see.
What do you mean when you say streaming service? Like
Paramount Plus?
Right, they have that.
Yeah.
So they have no sports on Paramount Plus. is
Yeah,
what
I
you're-
think
what
I think you
you're saying.
can.
Okay.
I think you can watch certain
have
live
some-
games
yeah,
that
they
you
have a
could
few.
watch, but you could watch those on CBS.
Yeah, they do more live just on actual CBS.
Yeah, the only benefit is if like your football team, you're out of market from your football team or something, and you want to see the Green Bay Packers play on CBS or whatever, then you could go to Paramount Plus. But other than that, it's
I mean, I don't know where this falls when it comes to WWE or AEW. I mean, merger wise, there's a lot that's got to happen for that to take place.
Yeah, that's down the road.
and it's gonna be one of those mergers that triggers probably a Senate approval. But I'll tell you now. You take Paramount and you take Warner Brothers, you put them together. That is like Disney style. I mean, do you understand how many movies Warner Brothers has? How many we're talking we're talking a significant. This is now
actually they already have a close relationship. You just said that. Doesn't HBO carry all like the Justice League stuff, all the Looney Tunes stuff?
They're DC.
all
They're
the DC stuff,
Warner
yeah.
Brothers is DC. So when you look at like Disney has Marvel and Disney has Star Wars, like Warner Brothers has DC. They have
the Harry Potter.
They have a
all the
lot
Harry
of. I
Potter
mean,
stuff, yeah.
I've always said. I said this a couple of years ago, not on this show or anything. I always said we're getting into a phase where there's so many options out there that these guys have to start merging to compete, and they have to start merging to compete with Disney. And Disney is so big, and now they're struggling being so big that Paramount and Warner Brothers, you have a lot of movie assets, you have a lot of production assets, and then Paramount's a lot of TV assets. You take those and put them together. You're talking a big, outside of not having theater park or theme parks like Disney, they're almost the same. Yeah. I mean, they're getting to a level of that's gonna be a very, very big, complex company. Those two together, and I don't know who takes the charge of it. It was Warner Brothers and Paramount. I mean, Paramount's huge. I mean, but then Warner Brothers is huge. Like
Paramount has all the Nickelodeon stuff,
Right.
Cartoon Network.
It's movie production,
Star
TV,
Trek.
and they're coming together, and that's a very big. HBO, you said it. I mean, that's included in that. I mean, look at all the assets
all the
they
Games of
have. I mean,
Thrones stuff,
I mean,
yeah.
it's huge. The Sopranos, like all the assets that are available in that. That's gonna be a very big company. Now, where wrestling falls into that. I mean, between those two big of a companies, you got to imagine they'd be able to put together a pretty good streaming package. Mm-hmm. Paramount Plus is it's one of the 5 subscriptions that I have. They have some good stuff on there. I mean, TV-wise.
Well, the reason, and this links to another news and rumors, I'll jump down a little bit here. So you kind of talked about how that would take a really long time to do that kind of a merger. Well, Warner Brothers Discovery has just enacted their 1-year extension with AEW. So kind of a stay of execution or buying more time for a decision. So now they've kind of kicked the can down the road.
When is their contract up before that extension?
Now, December 31st is when it was up.
2020.
They've just enacted a 1-year extension, which is in the contract.
Still time's up when
So-
WWE changes theirs over, really.
So they'll
in a couple
kick it.
months.
They're basically kicking the can a year down the road with AEW. So they're buying themselves another year to make
Still
a
not
decision.
good.
So I'm interested to see, like, what does that do? Does that take them out of the Raw conversation? Because Raw's not going to, I don't think WWE's going to want to wait 10 more months to find a home for Raw. I think with Raw, one of the things is the longer you're in the market, kind of the worse it looks for you now that you've got CM Punk there. I think as time goes by, you're going to see the value kind of, especially if the audience doesn't respond, if the ratings don't respond the way that you want them to. I think you could see now if the ratings go up and they end up consistently getting over 2 million, okay, and then I'll be wrong. But if ratings stay the same or even if they drop off a little bit,
one strategy to that is to keep them off TV.
Keep who off TV?
CM Punk. So now you have them all off TV in December. I mean, now it's, first couple weeks of January. Well, you can't really say ratings down because he's not on it.
They are keeping him off TV. The first 2 matches for CM Punk have been announced, and they're both dark shows right after Christmas.
Yeah, his first TV match is the Royal Rumble match.
Right. Which it should be. I mean, I think, I think you'll have everything announced deal-wise March, April. I think what's holding up right now, it's basketball. It's NBA. When the NBA announces what they're doing, then start watching everything start moving. If Warner Brothers gets NBA,
because it's
watch.
such a huge dollar
NBC
value.
Universal is going to sign Raw. I think NBC right now, Universal, they're trying to get the NBA, so they don't really have the money allocated towards doing the full WWE. They want the NBA.
On 13, they'd put it on.
No, they want it on like USA Network. They want NBA.
They want basketball on
Yes.
USA Network. Interesting.
Well, I don't know if it's USA, but NBC Universal wants NBA. They want to get into
NBC Sports.
Right. So, yeah, they got rid of that.
Oh,
well,
they
no,
did shut that
they
down,
still
right.
have it, but it's just not the network. So they have.
Because NASCAR used to be on that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So in USA started doing NASCAR. So USA is not. They're there, and they do soccer, I believe. So USA Network doesn't do sports. I think once the NBA signs and whoever they go with, the others are going to be left scrambling. And like if Warner Brothers loses out on NBA, I'll tell you now, they're going to sign WWE in a heartbeat. It's just going to happen. I mean, I think their goal is to sign NBA and probably keep that. But I don't think them signing a 1-year extension is really. I mean, they'll finish out the year. I mean, Raw deals change in October, right? And I think Warner Brothers is saying, we'll sign another year. We're going to keep you in the loop until we find out what we're doing.
So theoretically, and I don't know what the backout clauses allow, but theoretically, could you have, if Raw goes out in October, could you have 2 months where you have Raw on Monday night? And then the entire soiree.
Well, no, they'll just buy him out. They'll just buy him out and say, "Well,
buy the 2 months out.
Here's your money we don't want you on the network anymore." I mean, look at it this way. I mean, I want you to answer this question. Do you think them doing 1 more year is a good thing or a bad thing
for
AEW? I don't think it's good.
Doing 1 more year,
doing a 1 year. That's not good because. They're basically saying we're not ready. Why are they not committing to us? They're not committing to us. So they're trying to get their hands on something, and they're waiting.
You might be right. I mean, in the short term, it's a good thing. Obviously, it's more guaranteed money and all that stuff. It would cause some concern if I'm TK, if I'm Tony Khan. I'm thinking, oh man, like I would much rather have a 5-year deal right now than a 1-year extension. And it also means that there might not be an awful lot of other people at the trough chomping at the bit to get his.
I mean, do we really think there are people waiting for AEW? I mean, come on. We have not heard one other company mentioned.
It doesn't appear. I'm going to say something critical of AEW now. It doesn't appear that Tony Khan is like very open to negotiation, at least what I've been reading. It seems like he is trying to jam Ring of Honor into these deals that people don't really want. And I get the impression that it's like, wow, if you're not willing to kind of let Ring of Honor go away, like, are you really going to give on money, or are you really like? It just doesn't seem to me like he's really at the negotiation phase yet. Like, it seems like he still just wants to have his cake and eat it too. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just create a streaming service for them or something with all the extra cash you have or something. I don't know.
Ring of Honor already has the streaming service.
Yeah, like I don't know, or pair Ring of Honor up with TNA, who seems to be taking off and would love the extra attention. Like, come up with some kind of a talent exchange like you have with NJPW. Like, there's a lot of creative things that you could do behind the scenes, but I'm not getting the impression that Tony Khan is open to or doing any of those kinds of things. It seems like he just wants to take the old 3-year, extend it to 5, add a whole bunch of money onto it, and get Warner Brothers to sign off on the dotted line.
Want that? Who wouldn't want that?
I don't know. There's a certain amount of creativity you could put in a contract that would allow you to expand and experiment as a company.
Maybe he's very particular. Maybe he knows what he wants and he wants to be there. And
that's the impression that I get. He wants what he wants, and so if I'm him, that would kind of push some people away that maybe aren't ready to negotiate, like an Amazon or a Disney or a company that might be more open to something like that. But
it's just funny, we haven't heard any other companies reference or mentioned about negotiating.
Yeah, they're really trying to make
but they're
Warner
not
Brothers
really
work.
It's shocking.
Could part of that also be because they're a private company? I mean, WWE has to report all that stuff, don't they?
They want to.
Yeah, it's good for WWE. It's good for WWE TKO because that gets their stock up and down. But like, I don't think they technically have to. I mean, it's not even like we don't know who wanted to buy WWE. Remember, they didn't release any of that. There are obviously two companies. I don't know who they were in that lawsuit for TKO and WWE. But so I don't think they have to announce it. I think it makes sense for them to because that obviously influx the stock market price.
Yeah, I mean, TKO's stock, I'm just looking at the last month, has almost fully recovered. They're at almost $80 now. They're about 20 cents lower than they were at their max in the last month. You know, they took a huge dip after the whole McMahon selling stock, all that kind of stuff. But it's fully recovered from that, and that was only 3 weeks ago.
Well, it's still down from 100. Didn't they start with 100?
I think we all know that was, I think they maxed out at like 105, but that was like the week after the merger was announced. I mean, that, and then it immediately went off a cliff and it dropped down to like, 80.
It's something to keep watching. I mean, I could talk about the TV deals all day. I mean, it's something we talk about a lot. I mean, it's something that it's a great storyline right now in finding out what's going on.
Yeah.
It's clearly something.
Everybody's got an opinion, but not too many people have a lot of facts. Speaking of the future and not having too many facts, so Mercedes Moné's future is still very, very much in question. NJPW wants her. It looks like any plans that AEW had with her have been dropped.
Yep.
So she's basically out of the picture for AEW, which is probably the last thing I think we all expected after seeing her in the crowd at All In.
Right.
And it would reports are. Go ahead.
That doesn't necessarily mean plans are done with AEW. Just what they had planned to do with her
they're on
previously
hold.
isn't happening.
And rumors are that the amount that she is requesting from WWE would exceed Charlotte Flair's contract,
Which is ridiculous.
and would make her likely the highest paid woman in professional wrestling.
And that's why she's not signed.
Well,
It is. That's why she's not.
she
Is it
clearly
that
is not in a
ridiculous, though?
rush.
I mean, fans have always stuck behind Sasha. They've always been wishy-washy with Charlotte.
Are you okay, Matt? Are you telling me that she's more valued than Charlotte Flair?
In the fans' eyes, absolutely.
But okay, when you're talking, you're in the business office and you're talking,
Okay, in the business office, though, the only reason Charlotte is so high up is because they've pushed her that way.
Especially lately, she's been very injury prone.
I don't
The
think
only reason they value her so much is because they want to value her so much.
I think she's depreciated herself a bit not being on TV the last 2 years.
Absolutely.
Or a year, whatever.
Yeah.
I think she's depreciated herself. She's not. You can't tell me she's the same value now than when she left. I mean, she was more valuable when she was her last day at WWE than she is now. That's my opinion. What has she done to make herself more valuable?
Are you talking Sasha or Charlotte?
Sasha.
She went to Japan.
Besides becoming more desirable because she's been off TV for so long, I don't think she's really done much to say, hey, I'm now worth an extra $1 million than what I was worth when I left WWE on my last day. I don't know how you signed. Then Tony Khan would have signed you already.
I think Tony Khan doesn't want to pay her what she wants. Maybe this
He
is
doesn't wanna
something you
what?
and Tony Khan agree
He
on.
doesn't want to pay her what she
I don't
wants.
think he
Oh,
wants
I don't
to
think
pay
because I
her.
think it's a ridiculous number. I don't think anyone wants to pay her that.
I will say a couple of things that her and CM Punk have in common. They were off TV for a long time, years. Two, they both have a dedicated fan base, and people will follow Mercedes back to, especially if she's able to carry the Mercedes Moné character and totally drop Sasha Banks. Maybe WWE is not willing to do that, but
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
that people love her, and I remember when she left 2 years ago, people were pissed. They were really mad that she was not going to be around anymore.
I said this last week. If she does return to WWE, she's going with Mercedes. She's not coming back as Sasha Banks.
I don't think WWE will let that happen.
I think that changes. These women need to. The problem is with the four of them, Bailey, Charlotte, the man. Becky Lynch. The problem is they have to keep changing their personas. I
Right,
think
but-
it's her opportunity to come back as a different persona.
She'll be that character, but she won't be using that name. WWE already owns Sasha Banks.
Yeah,
They
I don't
own
know
everything
if
about it.
WWE would be comfortable giving her that much, which could be another negotiating stick point.
I think we've learned from Triple H that he's willing to do everything different than what WWE has always done, and that's a good thing. Look at the show. We're shocked that when CM Punk got signed. Then we're shocked and really at what he's saying on the mic. I would have never thought he'd be saying what he's saying on the mic. Everyone thought he was always. I think Triple H is doing things a little differently. I can see him being bold and saying, "Do Monet, go with that one." I can see it. Why not? Change it up a little bit.
Maybe. I don't
Triple
see
H
it
can make a
happening,
name
though.
for herself. Either way, the fact that we keep hearing more and more about Sasha Banks, I pull up the dirt sheets every day now and I see more and more. I mean, she's going to sign soon. I don't know who it is, but clearly the talk is moving. Things are in motion again.
She's almost 32. How much wrestling are you going to do past your mid-30s? I think Charlotte's in her mid to late 37 now, maybe, something like that, 36.
35, something like that.
She's becoming more and more injury prone. They just signed Jade Cargill. I say just signed. They signed her like 4, 5, 6 months ago, and they haven't done anything with her. Right? It was over the summer. She was hanging out at the Performance Center. So, the women's division is getting a little crowded in WWE, and they're starting to not really use the talent that they've signed. As far as I know, Jade Cargill's back to health and ready to wrestle.
I think it's weak. You think it's strong?
What's strong?
The women's division?
No,
I
crowded.
It's
Oh, yeah.
They have a lot of
I think
women there that they're not using.
They do not dedicate enough TV.
They don't have enough.
to justify
They don't
the
have
roster.
enough personas. They got to start giving them some. I don't know what it is.
They get one match if they're lucky on Monday night and
It's
Friday
always
night.
the same 4 or 5. It
Right,
is.
that's
it's
the
always
problem.
the same, and that's what I mean. They got to change up their. How many times we can see Sasha Banks against Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte Flair against Bayley, and Bayley against
that's the problem.
Becky Lynch
That's
or
the
Asuka?
problem.
It's always the same.
That's the problem you run into because in my opinion, WWE is hoarding talent to prevent it from going to the competition. That's why you keep Natalya around, even though she's a mid-carder once a month and then does all the dark shows, and she's happy to be there. So
That said, I'm a very big Rhea Ripley fan.
you pay her. And Rhea Ripley doesn't wrestle anymore. How many
She's
times has
actually. I've never really been. I've never really. I've had a fan on the female. I really like her. I think she's a great.
She is
great.
great.
I think she's a great champion. I think it's a
doesn't-
great storyline.
She doesn't wrestle anymore.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Are you sure she's not injured and they're just kind of doing the Stone Cold where she keeps the belt, just doesn't wrestle?
Maybe. But you're right. They aren't even really including her in any storylines anymore.
She wasn't on Raw. Was she on Raw?
She gets locked onto Judgment. I don't think she was.
Where was she
no.
for the R-Truth segment?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think she was there.
Did you watch
know,
that? That was
mentioned-
funny.
I-
Did you watch the R-Truth one?
Including NXT, they have 65 women on the roster.
That's a lot.
That is for one match per show.
Without NXT, it's still
Sometimes
just
2.
under 40.
You get 2 on NXT, 1 on Raw, 1 on SmackDown, 4 matches, and 65 women. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say
They
crowded.
could easily do a weekly women's only show.
Women get
without a
10% of the
problem.
television time, and they're 40% of the roster.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, WWE really made a lot of changes the last couple of years to even that out. They did. Now, maybe it's starting to regress a little bit because they can't keep
it's
up with
not.
good storylines. But
Or they keep
really,
getting injured.
I mean, whatever. I mean,
Or they keep getting hurt. All these Mercedes Moné's hurt right now. She's still hurt. She gets an ankle injury and she's out for 6 months.
she's going to sign soon. We are now entering. This is going to be a great year of business in the world of wrestling. This is going to be a great year TV-wise, but it's going to be a great year contract signing-wise. There's so many people.
Sorry, make that 67. Alexa and Carmella are still out on
That's
maternity.
right. Alexa's out on maternity. May as well be injured.
Yep.
God bless you.
67 women.
There's
it's
going to be
nuts.
so many deals, so many signings, and so many.
And with that injection of cash, mark my words, they're not going to lose anybody.
Who?
WWE.
Oh, they're going to sign. I read it today.
Yeah,
Someone
they're gonna
said
sign
it.
it.
I read it today. They're going to start reaching out to people at the beginning of the year, re-signing them.
Although
And
what's funny is they have no interest in Okada. He's one of the hottest guys on the market, top 5 hottest guys on the market. They have no interest
So
in Okada.
I just got to put a pin on this. So Jade Cargill is listed as being in developmental, not even NXT. There's another 17 women in developmental too.
She's a star. They signed how many women as part of the Next in Line program? Like 8? Mm-hmm. 8 more women as part of the Next in Line
That's
program?
nothing, though. Those have the 6 of them aren't even going to make it to NXT.
Jade Cargill is like ready. She's ready. That'd be like signing MJF and then putting him in development.
No. They're clearly working out. 'Cause look, when you debut, if you're her and you're MJ, you got to debut with the right gimmick and the right. You can't screw that up. You can't screw it up. Look at Brock Lesnar when he came back and without Paul Heyman. And was it 2011? It was a joke. And they had to go re-sign Paul Heyman to come, and people just didn't take him seriously until Paul Heyman came back. They got to plan that the right way. They're probably going through, figuring out how they want to
It's too
present her.
crowded. You can't. There's not enough space. You can't jam 10.
Well, I'll tell you right now, with
positions
Charlotte
by
Flair out of the picture, I'm sure she's coming up pretty soon.
All right, let's talk about our pal Kenny.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny's in the
Since we're
hospital.
talking about injuries.
Kind of unexpectedly tweeted.
So, yeah, he had been feeling some pain for the past couple weeks. His match on Dynamite a week or two ago against Ethan Page, he said he was definitely feeling something. Diverticulitis. That can be a pretty serious thing, right?
They went in there. They did some stuff.
That's why Brock Lesnar stopped UFC, was because of that.
Yeah, it's very serious. If you're not careful, diverticulitis can kill you very easily. We wish him the best.
Indefinitely.
He's out indefinitely.
But the surgery involved in that, I think it takes a while.
The tag match for the tag titles with Chris Jericho at the World's End pay-per-view, that's off.
Another hiccup.
Dude, it was so weird because he was out there shooting the shit, spitting back and forth, and then all of a sudden, like 2 days later, he's in the hospital.
See, this is the stuff that...
And he's getting older, too. He's late 30s.
This is the stuff that makes Vince McMahon, and Tony Khan, Tony Khan. How is Tony Khan going to continue to redevelop storylines in AEW as this stuff starts to happen? It's bumps in the road that we talked about before. He's got to find a way of getting this stuff like, he looked like he had a great thing going with Chris Jericho. That was building up with Chris Jericho. Now that's done.
That was really
so
good.
how now you got to adjust that. Like, what does Chris Jericho do now? Like, you got to, like, it's nothing's going Tony Khan's way. But I mean, I think everything, he has it in his hands to fix it. How is he going to do it? And I think that's what made Vince McMahon. Look at 1999 when 1998 when WCW was beating WWF. Remember?
98, yeah.
Yep.
And then Vince, he redeveloped, and look at what happened. Like, what's Tony Khan? That's what's going to define Tony Khan. Is how can he handle the bumps in the road? And I think he's just had a lot in 1 year. How can he fix that? I mean, this just because Kenny Omega is going to be out for a while, probably 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, he just said indefinitely.
So I mean, that's not good.
If you guys are looking to do anything really nice for the holidays or for Christmas, it was recently announced that Bray Wyatt has been signed to a Legends contract to ensure that his wife, I guess widow, the fiance, and his 3 kids make any proceeds from any merchandise sales.
4 kids.
4 kids, you're right. Make any money off of that. So get on there, buy your Bray Wyatt merchandise, and donate to a very good cause. I'm surprised they're not a little bit more public about that, because that's the kind of thing that really makes you want to be a part of a company like that, I would think.
Well, he definitely had a solid reputation there.
And he earned it. Yeah, he
absolutely.
was a great guy to work with, so that's great. So TNA continuing to make waves as we enter 2024. TNA's Scott D'Amore is teasing a huge surprise for TNA Hard to Kill on January 13th, saying that you're going to see basically someone poke their head up that is going to shock everybody. That's really going to make a huge. He's calling it an actual signing. So I wonder.
Is it confirmed or is it happening?
I mean, he's talking some big game.
Finalizing one of the biggest signings in company history.
So we know that a bunch of people have been released by WWE. Probably Mustafa Ali's the most recognizable.
Is that going to be the biggest? I mean, come on. If we're talking TNA and the biggest, we're talking Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, all those guys back in the day too. AJ Styles, Kurt Angle. I mean, who's bigger than those? Because those were all TNA days.
No, I think he's talking about the modern day TNA age. I don't think he's going back to the 6-sided ring.
TNA's TNA, is it not?
But
I mean, you can't say that those days aren't.
Well, maybe he's in the Anthem age. I don't know. I don't know. How
I'm
to
sure
word
he's
it,
talking about all of history. He's just trying to hype it up. I mean, unless it's, I don't know. I can't even come up with a name now. Maybe CM Punk is actually signing with TNA.
I mean, he could get it. I mean,
Dolph Ziggler, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Dolph,
is Ziggler.
Really that big?
Or you could get one of the AEW guys to come over because they've got an open. So you could get MJF, which would also finish.
But calling
that
TNA?
a signing, though, that doesn't.
Yeah, it's a one match, right? It's a one night signing or something.
That would be clickbait for sure.
It'd be clickbait, but it would work if he loses the title at World's End, and
then shows up in
and they
TNA.
still don't announce that he's signed, but he is signed, and then shows up at TNA on January 13th. TNA gets a huge pop from that. Maybe they announce it a couple of days before to pump sales. And then after the match, they announce that, no, he's actually re-signed. I mean, that basically makes everybody happy, in my opinion. Just gaming that out.
So why wouldn't you do? See, this is where like they need to get creative in the world of wrestling now. I like that idea. So why wouldn't you have you do a? Let's go with your theory. We may be switching topics here a little bit. Let's go with your. By the way, side note, I think Kurt Angle is the top signing that TNA's ever had. Is there one that's bigger than that?
Sting.
When TNA when
Yeah,
Kurt
he doesn't
Angle
like
left
Sting.
WWE and went to. I mean, remember he left WWE and then immediately went to TNA. That was a huge deal back in the day.
That is up there. I mean, you could say the same thing. You said Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff.
But I
were-
think the only difference with them and Sting is that they weren't wrestling in a promotion at the time. Kurt Angle literally stopped WWF, said, I'm busy, I'm hurt, I gotta take a break, and he basically cried the blues. And then like a week later, he was at TNA. That was huge. That is huge signing. And then Kurt Angle did how many years there? 10?
You probably want
Not
to
10.
8?
No. He was there 5 or something.
He was at WWE for 7 years, and then he was at TNA for 10.
Yeah.
He's been 10 years.
Yeah, he was there for a while.
Yeah, he was there longer than WWE.
But
for sure.
the significance of that signing, I think, makes it was one of the biggest takeaways from WWE. They took Kurt Angle away and they went to TNA. I think that, in my opinion, is the best. But I was about to say is going off the MJF storyline here for a minute. Let's say he really did sign a couple months ago, and Tony Khan, who's is he a good wizard with the content ideas or not? Maybe he works a little deal with TNA. Hey, we're gonna get into a little splat with MJF. He's gonna leave on the 31st, show up at TNA, have a big storyline there for like a month, and then he's gonna leave and come back here. And we're going to work this angle where he's left the company and we got to try to get him back. And it's to get people watching TNA for a month. Could
It's
be a little bit
possible.
of an interesting, but is
It's
TNA
possible.
really working with AEW? I don't think so. So I don't think that's going to happen. But that could be an interesting storyline.
They've traded stuff around before. I mean, Kenny Omega was the TNA champion for when he was a heel.
I don't think
Couple years ago.
I don't think you have to. And obviously none of us have actually read the detailed contracts or whatever. But the understanding is that there's a lot more openness in an AEW contract as far as working in other promotions. And the same thing on the TNA side. Mickie James was at the Royal Rumble. She walked in with the Women's Championship. So
They could do a whole. So really,
it could be interesting.
He could leave, show up at TNA, win the TNA World Title.
Nah, I don't think they're going to do that.
But then they could do a whole thing where he showed back up at AEW with the title. You need to start paying me a whole big thing. They can make it a little bit of an interest, and then he could win both titles. They could make an interesting storyline for a couple months with that.
They did it with Kenny. They could do it with him.
If I'm Scott D'Amore, I wouldn't do that because that kind of dusts up my championship.
It gets them going a little bit.
Well, I think
The
that
jump starts TNA a bit. It's definitely the biggest signing.
And gets their world title on cable
Yeah.
TV.
again, it kind of, who do you give it to afterwards then?
Doesn't matter. You got people that are
Whoever
watching
you
for a
wanna
month.
push.
The fact that
Yeah.
you said it doesn't matter tells you why you don't want to do that.
What do you mean?
Who the champion is on should matter.
Okay, well, obviously, but my point is, people are going to be watching because MGF is there.
I think-
That's what TNA's after.
I think you get the same pop by having him there and then losing the title to Alexander or whoever. Having him there for a month or two. I mean, maybe he wants a break where he just appears at a couple of pay-per-views.
Does Alex Shelley still have the belt in TNA, or does he lose it to somebody? Can't think of who the champion is.
Unfortunately, I don't think any of that's happening because I don't think MGF is signed with AEW at the moment. Unfortunately.
You think he hasn't signed with
Oh,
AEW?
I don't. I think everyone's just playing
Yeah,
nice
Alex
and not
Shelley
saying
is still the
anything.
champion.
I do not think MGF is signed. I don't. And I think if he's not signed right now, then everyone keeps saying, "Oh,
There,
if he's not signed, it's not a good
there-
thing. His
there-
contract's up in a week."
there was a report out, a rumor, I should say, up this morning about supposedly it was brought up to a higher up at WWE who laughed and said,
Right.
it's an angle.
Right.
It's a work. So that
What's
WWE,
What's a work that he is signed
that
or
he
that he
might
isn't?
go to WWE.
Yeah.
That he might go to WWE. So
Well, no, he's saying it's a work that his contract isn't up.
No, it's a work that he might go to WWE. Meaning the implication being he's signed.
Bidding war of 2024. It's just a
well, he's saying he's signed to AEW already.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I personally don't think it is. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, WWE might be saying that. WWE, have we learned, wants to surprise the shit out of everyone. Would like to see him. I think they're just gonna. They want it to be a surprise.
Might be. I mean, the amount of merch that he moved, that might be the new formula that Triple H does. Is just keep it under wraps as much as you can. And move on.
The three of us can all agree that AEW makes a better WWE, and WWE makes a better AEW.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, but if you're sitting at this is the WWE headquarters table right now, we hate that guy over there who's AEW. And if I just signed CM Punk and WWE or AEW is crawling right now, and we have Warner Brothers over here, I would steal the shit out of MJF, and I'd pay him a fortune and really stick it to Tony Khan. Why would you not do that? Like, why wouldn't you? Why would you not? Out of all the money that TKO and they all have available to spend it at MJF and slit the throat of AEW. Yeah. Why would you not? That's business. Why not? Tell me why not.
It's all an angle. I don't think MJF wants to go.
Okay, let's say, forget the angles for a minute. No storyline, no content, nothing. We're talking business. Let's say in reality he has not signed.
The performer has to take your phone call.
You're telling me, are you telling me, and I'm closing the laptop now, we're getting to serious business now. You're telling me that if Triple H calls MJF to talk about contract, he's not answering?
No, I'm saying that you have to have two things happen. You have to have Triple H call him, which is the first thing
which you wouldn't do?
That's very unlikely to happen.
I don't know about that, but okay, keep going.
That's very unlikely. And then the second thing is you have to have him take the call and say anything other than, thank you very much, but no thank you.
Are you hearing this, Matt? So money doesn't talk.
I think money talks.
First off, Triple H is what to do better. See, here's the difference between Triple H and Vince. Vince will do that. If the guy signed CM Punk, he's going to call anybody. Okay, that's the one guy he would not call, and he did. Says if he's willing to call,
CM Punk called him.
Okay, whatever. He still accepted the phone call and hired him. If he's willing to do that, you're telling me that Triple H would not pick up the phone and call MJF?
I think if MJF called him, he'd take the call. But if
it doesn't matter who's calling who. They both can have a phone call.
Hang on. It seems how we're coming up with totally fictitious and ridiculous
situations.
I'm just
talking reality for a minute.
Let's talk about reality for a minute. You have one stake to drive into the vampire's heart.
Okay.
Are you going to try to take MJF or are you going to try to take Warner Brothers Discovery?
Do both.
You let's say you can't do both. You can only do one.
How can you not? The money from that's not the same as money from here.
But let's say you could only do one. Which one are you going to do?
But it's not logical because you can't do just one. WWE is not paying Warner Brothers. They're paying wrestlers. They're getting money from Warner Brothers to get MJF. Well, have you not thought that could be a deal?
In order to go to Warner Brothers, you have to give up money.
No, they don't.
Warner Brothers is not going to make the biggest offer of anybody.
Have you ever thought about for 1 second that Triple H walked into Warner Brothers and said, how about this? We just signed CM Punk, who you really, really like. You give us a deal, we'll sign MJF.
Yeah, they're going to have to leave money on the table. Way more money than they would have to give MJF.
And Warner Brothers is sitting there going, we now just got WWE, who now has both CM Punk and MJF, who were the two big assets that AEW had. Why would we sign with Tony Khan?
No, you're wrong. That's
Jeremy, if I'm the CEO of Warner Brothers, I'm going to go, you know what? We'll tack in a little bit extra money, but we want you to sign MJF.
Stop thinking about this from Warner Brothers' perspective and start thinking about it from WWE.
I'm just throwing that whole element in now just on the blue.
You keep saying, I'm the CEO of Warner Brothers. I'm the CEO. Be the CEO of WWE right now. Okay. How much money are you willing to leave on the table to stick a thumb in TK's eye? How much money? Tell me. Give me a dollar figure right now. How much money are you willing to stick it to TK, Tony Khan? How much money are you willing to leave on the table?
I'm willing to give MJF whatever he wants.
No, not MJF. How much money are you willing to leave on the table in this television deal for Raw?
You're assuming Warner Brothers is asking for a discount.
Of course they're going to ask for a discount.
I don't think they're asking for much of a discount.
Of course they're going to ask for a discount.
I don't think so.
Of course they're going to ask for a discount.
They're going to be getting numbers relatively close to SmackDown.
Of course they're going to ask for a discount because Raw does not...
What's the discount? SmackDown won for $1.4 billion. So what's the discount you're thinking Raw's going to go for?
That's why I'm saying we don't know how much money it's going
Raw's
to be.
Raw's going to go for... If I had to guess, they want 1.6 for Raw. It's 3 hours long, 1.6 billion for Raw.
For Raw. Great.
They came back and said, we'll do 1.5 billion. I say, done. Signed.
You're willing to give up $100 million.
To stick it to AEW.
$100 million.
Jeremy,
I don't think they're willing to do that.
$100 million doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. You're talking $1.5 billion. It doesn't mean anything.
They open themselves up to all kinds of court cases.
How so? That's assuming someone's offering more than $1.5 billion.
Of course, that's assuming that. That's why I said leaving
NBC
money on the
Universal
table.
is probably not going to be offering $1.6 billion. You're assuming Disney's. If Disney's saying we want $1.7 billion.
Amazon, still at the table.
I don't think any of them are asking $1.6
Amazon actually
billion.
has $1.5 billion in
They
cash.
do, but I think they're the ones trying to lowball it, and they're not going for that.
I don't know where that comes from. But
When you see things that we see, Warner Brothers wants WWE, WWE wants Warner Brothers, and they both want it. So the reality is, what are they going to do to make the deal happen? I disagree.
That's a terrible.
disagree.
WWE wants as much money as they can possibly get for their
True,
product,
true.
and Warner Brothers wants to pay the absolute minimum that they possibly can.
Absolutely
That's
true.
the reality.
But
of the situation.
there comes to a point of what is worth what, and Raw has a value.
You're talking about an emotional decision. Let's just fuck Tony Khan over.
No. You're getting
The
two
way
things.
you fuck Tony
You're getting
Khan
two
over
things.
is you make the
You're getting two
best
things
decision.
mixed up. I don't think what Warner Brothers and WWE decide is really going to impact what WWE wants to do with MJF. If I'm the CEO,
That's the argument you made
if
from
I'm
the
Nick,
beginning.
no. What I'm saying, what I said was, Warner Brothers may sit there and say, you know what, we're going to give you some extra money. Sign MJF. That gives us everything we wanted and had at AEW, and we're good to go. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to say we're not going to accept less, and there's not going to be a scenario where you have to choose between the two. If I'm the CEO, Nick Khan, I'm going to sit here and go, you're MJF? What do you want? $20 million. Done. That's what you do. They want to sign MJF. They want to stick it to AEW, and they have the opportunity to do two things, and it's not assumed that Warner Brothers isn't asking for MJF on top of that. You don't know what Warner Brothers is asking for. Warner Brothers could say, you know what? We'll give you $1.6 billion, but we want MJF signed, and his deal's up in a week. You don't know what they're asking for. You don't.
Yeah, it's all pure speculation.
But the reality is, stick it to AEW when you can. We, unfortunately, do much better when there's two promotions and don't want to see either one really go out of business because it makes for better wrestling all around. But the business table doesn't agree with that. The corporate tables do not agree. They're going to stick it to each other as much as they can. And WWE has all the cards in their hand right now to really stick it to Tony Khan. They do.
The one thing that you're missing here is that MJF has announced publicly on many different occasions that he wants to stay with AEW.
What does CM Punk say about WWE and what happened there?
And if MJF doesn't sign and then tries to go to MMA and fails and then spends 7 years sitting around his house jerking off and then comes back, it might be a similar scenario.
People saying the public means nothing. It's what the dollar signs on the check are.
Okay. All
It is.
No, I guess what people say publicly doesn't matter. It's only what you've invented in your head. It's only the magical scenario you've created in your head that speculates
MJF
on
doesn't want
nothing
money. MJF wants money. MJF is going to go where the money goes.
Well, your assumption is that AEW...
MJF likes money. It's not an
Your
assumption.
assumption is that AEW hasn't already given him the amount of money that he wants. That's the huge assumption you're making.
No, you are assuming.
There's no public information available right now that says that MJF is talking to WWE.
You're assuming that
Zero.
he's signed right
There's
now.
Zero.
He's not signed.
Cite one piece of public information right now that says MJF is talking to WWE.
He said
it.
He said it the other day that
Yes,
he's interested.
in the middle of a fucking promo in the ring, he said that.
He did it in an interview. He said it.
Yeah, as part of a promo, dude. It's a work. Oh my god. Okay.
All right, this has been the latest episode of Ring the Bell.
You've marked. Now that you've marked out, it works. Okay. Iron Claw comes out this week.
Nice subject change.
So
wow.
I'm just saying it might be a good opportunity for Dan to go
Careful,
and learn
you might
something
get
about
whiplash
wrestling.
with that one. Jeez.
Iron Claw hits theaters this week. We're going to go and watch it. It's going to be good. We're going to do a review for Falls Con Anywhere. Maybe Dan could go and learn something about wrestling. Could be good for him.
You don't want to talk about reality and what's in front of you. You're living in not everything's storylined.
I think you need to...
It's not though. He does not have a contract signed. I know you think
round two.
I think you think it's not. You think that everything is like storyline and like he does not. There's no benefit to arguing that he does not have a. There's nothing to it.
The simplest explanation is usually the most likely. The simplest explanation is that
The
MJF is already signed.
The simplest is that you think it is, and it's not.
It doesn't get any sense. That's Occam's razor, man. It's what's
I really can't wait to see how
likely.
this plays out. Someone's gonna be eating a lot of crow when it's done.
Well, it's definitely your turn.
Matt, what's your opinion on it after you watch this? Let's go back and forth.
I don't know.
I think we know what his opinion is. He's made it known in weeks past. That's awfully nice of you to not.
I think he's already signed at AEW too. I don't think he's going anywhere unless WWE does come. Well, if he hasn't signed yet, if WWE comes and does give him $20 million, let's say, then yeah, he'll jump ship. But I think he's.
So you think money? If you think the money's right, he'll jump ship. If he's not signed, if the money's right, you think he would leave?
Not necessarily if the money's right, if the money's obscene.
Right. And that's all I'm trying to say. If the money's there, he's going to go where the money goes.
It has to be enough money for him to be willing to deep six his career.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's looking at.
Yeah, I still, as much as we like MJF and as much as he has grown in AEW, I don't think he's still at that level that AEW or that WWE would pay that kind of money
I
for
do
him.
think he's a little overrated.
They're going to shelve him. He's going to be a mid-carder.
Yeah, exactly. They would bring him in to be a mid-carder. He'd never be a top guy, at least not anytime soon.
Never. He's
Cody. He's not going to get paid like a top
guy. So really, if
guy.
that's the case, WWE would just be hiring out of spite.
And so they would have to pay him enough money for him to go, if I never work again.
Right.
I don't think $20 million's enough.
He would be Dolph Ziggler, who was there for over a decade, and they did nothing with it.
And
that's all it would be.
That's why I'm saying it's not likely to happen, because you'd essentially have to be like, yes, MJF, leave this company where you're king to go over here and be a mid-carder and potentially injure yourself and never come back.
It may not be like that. I personally don't think he's signed. I just don't think he's signed. I think there's no good thing.
Pretty irresponsible to not sign and to let your contract lapse, which is what's going to happen. I mean, there's only 9 days left.
All right, let's move on. We got a lot to cover still.
CJ Perry, who you WWE fans might know as Lana, the Ravishing Russian, is in the hospital to treat an infection in her right hand. She got a splinter.
I saw
the collision.
In the arm. And
it got infected, and it's working her way up the arm to her heart. She had to have surgery. It would appear she's out of surgery and okay. But, yeah, kind of scary there. Antibiotics, real thing. Take them.
But at what point did she not think she needed to go? Like the minute your finger got that red, I would have gone.
No, my understanding is that it did escalate very quickly. Oh. It was like she hurt her finger, didn't think anything of it. A couple of days later, it started swelling and getting bad. They went to the hospital. She was in the hospital for over 50 hours before they decided to send her into surgery. So I think they went, oh, it's infected. Try this, try this, try this, try this, and none of it worked. And then they went, okay, we need to do something else. Yeah, typically stuff like that. I mean, it's been less than a week, and she's already been into and out of surgery and in the hospital for multiple days. So I don't think there was a lot of sitting on your hands, so to speak, pun intended. Here's some good news. Ticket sales are improving for AEW.
That's good.
Yes. Last week's the Continental Classic is, I think, really helping ticket sales.
Yeah.
Last week's Dynamite show sold much better than it typically has in the past. And actually, the really exciting one that I'm going to show below is AEW Revolution. That's scheduled for March 3rd. It's supposed to be Sting's last match. Is selling like 500 tickets a day, basically. They're now up over 13,000 tickets distributed. They've opened up 6 whole new sections on it, so now they're up to 15,500 basically in Greensboro, which is not by any means Sting's hometown or anything like that. Do we think
maybe for a chance that Sting's storyline may not be, it's just a storyline? You really think he's retiring?
I think so, yeah.
Or you think something's going to happen where he kind of they kick it down the can for another retirement match down the road?
No, I think he's done.
I see why he should be. I mean, I think he should. I think he's probably at a spot where he's ready to be retired. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering if it's at all work and it's leading to some kind of bigger...
you always have to be a little skeptical with these kind of things, but I think this is legit.
He's clearly done enough, and he's achieved enough. I see no reason why he needs to be in the ring, but...
He's getting old.
What is he, 62?
64.
64.
He's at retirement age.
I mean, to be out, that's like my dad that was just in here out wrestling in the ring. I couldn't see that.
Yeah, that would be rough. So that's good. So and sales are in general trending up. They're making some good choices stadium wise. They're going to some smaller venues, and it's a lot easier to sell 3,500 tickets. they're going back down to Jacksonville to Daly's place down there, which is like 2,500 tickets or whatever. So they'll sell that out no problem. So that's good. Hopefully that trend continues. Tony Khan continuing the push on World's End, saying it's going to feature never-before-seen matches, which, of course, Tony Khan, well known for not really announcing his matches at all prior to, like, the day before. But we know for sure that we're going to see the finale of the Continental Classic.
Yep.
Gold versus blue.
Yeah, I'm thinking... I've been back and forth on predictions, but I'm thinking Swerve is going to win it. He is really popular right now.
That would be a good one. Actually, in addition, sort of tangentially related to that, they did sell over $4 million worth of tickets for All In the first 24 hours that they announced All In way out in August. So, I mean, they're going to be at Nassau Veterans. It would be interesting. So they're going to be in Long Island. Are they going to have MJF drop the title in his hometown? That would be another interesting
they have not
little twist.
They have very rarely had people lose in their hometowns.
Exactly.
I think they just did it recently at one of the recent, maybe it was the last pay-per-view. I can't remember who it was, but somebody did lose in their hometown. But it does not happen often in AEW.
Yeah. Wanted to get your thoughts on this one, Dan.
Shocker.
How do you feel about the Miracle on 34th Street fight that they hold every year? I think this year it was on Raw. I think they've done it on SmackDown before, though.
Yep. JD McDonough versus R-Truth.
To me, it just seems like
I don't think I've seen the match before.
Oh, you didn't watch it's?
I've seen the story. I've seen the
It's just a
JD
street
for
fight
R2.
with Christmas-themed
Oh.
weapons.
Oh, it's a classic R-Truth match. I can just tell just by reading it.
It seems like the only reason why they do it is to do Christmas puns.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I watched the match and it was just
He got hit in the jingle bells.
it was just bad pun after bad pun after
But,
bad.
but that's right up R-Truth's alley. Like, he's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's that gimmick that
I laughed so hard when I saw it. He goes, the first thing we gotta do is kick out JD, and then he flips out. And I don't know if you watch Mysterio, but he's trying to hold himself from not laughing because that's what R-Truth does. He tries to break character in the ring.
Yeah.
I think he does say a lot of things that aren't in the script.
Yeah,
and
sure.
And it I think it's funny. But that reading that match and R-Truth, it's right up. I'm not shocked.
When you're as old as he is, you've been around the block as many times.
Can you guess his age?
51.
You must have looked it up today.
We did guess his age.
I looked it up earlier myself.
Yeah. Continuing the theme with signings, the Mysterios have re-signed. Both
I
of
get
them.
one, I don't get the other.
Well, and the details on Ray's is not.
Yeah.
It could be a Legends contract for all we know, or once in a while,
Yeah,
6 matches a year.
He'll
or
probably
something.
be another one who's going to be stepping away
But I think
soon.
Dom got a full 5 years, so he's at home. He's not going anywhere.
He deserves it. He should.
No
I
surprise
think
there.
WWE should be back in that. I think that's. I mean,
Dude.
I know he's not to that level yet, but like, he is clearly the top one with the most heat.
Nobody that I can think of in the business in a long time has made more money, filled more seats by saying so little. Mm-hmm. The guy grabs the mic and people start booing. I mean, that guy.
It's great.
That guy knows how to put an ass every 18 inches, and he doesn't even have to do anything.
But rather than on purpose or not, they built the perfect persona with that. With him, when he went after his dad, and he tried to destroy his dad over and over again, and did kind of to a degree. I mean,
it was
just
perfect because his dad's walking out the door. So
Yeah.
you don't have to worry
Right.
about dealing with a heel turn or anything like that. He's one of the most beloved guys in the business. It's perfect. I mean, he'll forever.
He doesn't look like a wrestler though when you look at it. He has no built to him. He's
Dom?
not. He's
Yeah.
really not that big. Like
No,
he's
no.
really not. Like he's not stocky at all. Like he's really. Like I'm when I see him, like he doesn't really look like a wrestler, but he
He's
goes.
a decent wrestler. He's
Yeah.
coming along nicely. Much better now than he was.
I don't like the
3-4 years
hair,
ago.
but I think it makes the persona even better.
It's supposed to be like
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero mullet days.
So Liv Morgan's in trouble with the law.
Oh,
She was
boy.
pulled over earlier this week, crossing the lanes in Florida. They found a little bit of the wacky tobacco on her, along with some cannabinoid oil, I think, inside a vape
couple
pen.
doobies.
They arrested her. It is
How
a violation.
old are you?
It is a violation of the drug policy. There's a $2,500 fine if she's
Oh,
caught.
boy.
But there's no sign that WWE tests anybody for it or anything like that, which brings up an interesting question about testing.
No, yeah, I don't think it's part of their wellness program anymore now that it's legal everywhere.
No, it is.
It is?
It's still
Oh, I thought it
it's still federally a crime. States have legalized it or decriminalized it, but federally, it's still a crime to have it. And there is a fine if you test positive. There is a fine, but there's no sign that they're testing anybody for it. I guess that's kind of their workaround. And they've come out publicly and they said, yep, we still have plans to bring her back as normal. So she was arraigned and made it out on bail. So I'm going to put her mugshot below because it's a real winner. So we talked a little bit about Charlotte. She's out for 9 months with her injury. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of the injury.
We talked about it last week, yeah.
Have you seen the video, though?
I didn't
The video
see
came
it,
out. Yeah, like her and Asuka lost balance on the top ropes, and she got her leg caught.
I thought it looked more neck related than foot, but I mean, when I first saw it, like she kind of she landed on her neck bad. I didn't think it was her foot. I thought it was gonna be her neck, but
I give her a lot of credit because she finished the match like a trooper. And again, I'll put a picture below, but she's in a lot
what was
of
it
distress.
torn ACL,
They said
MCL?
it's
worse than a torn
than
ACL.
a torn ACL is what the report is. So she's out 9 months minimum, is what they're saying.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit of a work here.
Oh boy.
I mean,
My radar is up here just slightly.
Charlotte Flair injured? That's suspicious.
No. I think she's injured. I just don't think it's 9 months. I can see a shocking WrestleMania return. She's definitely injured. I remember John Cena pulled that stunt a couple years ago where
He did that every time he got injured.
Oh, John Cena! Oh my God, it's John Cena! He show up at the Royal Rumble, and like I think she got injured. I just don't. I think they're trying to make an opportunity. Why not do that these days? You know what? You're gonna be out for 3-4 months. Let's say 8. When she returns, we have a shocking return.
I guess if you're John Cena and you're literally scraping the bottom of the barrel, and with ideas, you
Steve,
and
WrestleMania. Mark my words. I think she shows up at WrestleMania.
All right.
I might agree with you on that, but with the amount of social media and everything, you'd be able to tell that was a storyline pretty quick.
So that's 4 months, WrestleMania.
I think
instead of 9.
I think John Cena would legitimately push himself and come back too early to make a surprise return like that.
I don't think it's gonna be 9 months.
You gonna bet the title on it?
No.
That's all right. That's gonna be up in a week, anyways.
It'll just be we could make it like the opposite of the Money in the Bank, where it goes to you if you're wrong on that one prediction, no matter what.
There should be. I don't know what it is, but there should be something we do a wild claim. I don't know what it is.
There are some weird rumors out there. I've heard some whispers that Logan might bring his brother in
I saw that.
and make a Paul Brothers
Fantastic.
another WrestleMania.
I'm very much in favor of that.
Another WrestleMania. We'll see if his brother can wrestle.
You think 1v1 against each other?
No, you'd have to work it as a tag team to start with.
I think a 1v1 could be
start
interesting.
with.
Jake
too.
isn't nearly as dynamic or athletic as his brother is. I think Logan's the better
Keep it down,
of,
Steve.
of the two brothers.
I like
I
it.
agree, Steve.
I think the Pauls are great.
I think they both suck.
I don't know anything about them, but I think they're great for the business.
That is
I
an
don't know
interesting.
anything about them.
That is an interesting angle. That is one huge distinction between the WWE brand and the AEW brand. AEW doesn't do the celebrity angle at all.
WWE
And,
definitely pays off for it. I mean,
That's an interesting.
AEW tried it with UFC guys for a while. I mean, I think Paige Van Zant is still signed to a contract, even though she hasn't been there in over a year.
That's not the same as bringing on Jason Statham, or he's a bad example, but you get it, like a movie star or a huge sports star, Joe Burrow, Alex Rodriguez. Like that would be the equivalent of what WWE.
Shaq wrestled a match in AEW.
That's what I'm saying.
I think this goes a little bit to why, you talk WWE, you talk AEW, and maybe why we don't hear many more other TV deals for AEW. I just don't think they're to that level yet.
I think
if you're an MLB star looking to do, you go to WWE. You don't see a lot of celebrities like that at AEW. I just don't think they're to that level yet.
They were in the beginning, like what's his name there?
Bad Bunny.
No, Silent Bob, Kevin Smith. He was on some of the early episodes of
I think
Dynamite
he hates
and pay-per-views and
WWE,
stuff.
doesn't he?
I don't know.
I thought he hates. He doesn't hate WWE. He's eating. I thought he hates WWE. No, maybe not.
I don't know.
I don't know that he has a particular hate for
maybe I'm
WWE.
wrong.
But it would appear to me that it would seem to me that that's part of like the angle is like this is wrestling. It's not sports entertainment.
Right.
So
But let's be serious. Out of all the celebrities, the Pauls definitely have more wrestling experience than the other people that they brought in.
I would say Bad Bunny really
Well, yeah,
showed up.
he didn't have experience though.
He showed up. Well, Logan Paul didn't have experience before 2 WrestleManias ago.
Doesn't he box though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan Paul has some
Well, that's
skill.
some
Let's be
athletic
honest.
ability.
The guy does have some serious skill. That you like him or don't like him, he can do some things in the ring.
The point that I'm trying to make is that's how you put butts in seats for people that aren't wrestling fans, but
Right.
that are still willing to pay $100.
Again, the casual fan. I say it every
Exactly.
week.
Again,
Casual.
entertainment.
So, but AEW doesn't want that casual fan. They want the
Right.
They
wrestling
want
fan.
full course
That's-
wrestling, fighting.
That's why QT Marshall left, because they were moving more towards New Japan and away from WWE
Yeah,
stuff.
their goal is to. What they're not doing a good job of is creating the hardcore wrestling fan or
Right.
converting. All right, last topic: news and rumors. So there's been a couple of months ago, there was another trademark filing for WWE Speed, which debuted this past week on SmackDown with 2 dark matches at the beginning of SmackDown. There's very little information that's known about this. Very little has leaked. I think they didn't do any kind of formal announcement at the dark match, so people didn't really know what they were watching, although there are some snapshots. I'll show one below. It looks like some kind of a fast-paced speed match. Could be a future match.
Beat
premise,
the clock challenge
Could
type.
be a new brand. Could be a new gimmick or
If you're
something
going
like
brand,
that.
why not just bring back Heat? WWE Heat.
Velocity, yeah.
Why go through Speed? I think Heat sounds better than Speed.
I don't know.
Remember Heat? Remember the Heat days?
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch it at 7 o'clock on Sunday nights, right before WrestleMania, right before the pay-per-views.
Yep.
You kind of would get an idea of what's going on, and then they go dark, and you get the cable box out and pop it in, and those are the old days.
Yes, they are. You're aging yourself.
I like Heat better if you're doing a different show. I made some
We'll
kind
see.
of match.
I'm sure there'll be some unique spin or gimmick on it, but it would appear that it's at least in the beta testing phase. They're doing it in dark matches, so could be something there that's interesting to follow along with. Last topic for this week's show. This year being our inaugural year on the air wrestling with the business, we thought it would be appropriate to do our year end. I'm calling them the Busy Awards. 5 different categories of professional wrestling. We're all going to, I think, next week share what we feel is our winner in each category and perhaps discuss, debate, negotiate.
There's going to be some arguing. I have a funny
It could be
feeling.
interesting.
Everything
Chance-
will be WWE.
No, not necessarily.
So the categories are best show, and I think the agreement here is pay-per-view or premium live event, right, is the idea here. We're not going to pick Monday Night Raw from June 5th, right?
Sure.
Best match overall. Trios, singles, battle royale, doesn't matter. Best match. Most improved performer.
I think we're going to be all pretty close on that one.
Could be interesting. And then I think we should talk about a high spot, kind of the apex of the industry for us. Could be inside the ring or outside the ring, whatever. The apex, the high spot of the year, and then the botch spot, which is kind of the low spot or the worst point, lowest moment of the year.
I think you got to add in best storyline.
Storyline of the year.
Yeah,
That's-
what a storyline that happened that we thought was the best, which led ultimately to the best match, I would assume. But what's the best storyline of the year?
That could definitely create some debate because there's been 3 or 4 really good storylines this year. So yeah, I'll throw that in there. We'll have a 6th category. So that'll be our topic of conversation, our primary topic, in addition to our World's End
Biggest
predictions
surprise?
next week.
You did mention biggest, what was it,
Return
or signing or
Well, you
something?
could do
Biggest return or signing, but there really weren't that
that's why I say
many.
return, because you could do signings, you can do debuts, you could do returns. I think the biggest surprise of the season.
No matter who you are, it's going to be CM Punk. So I feel like having that is just kind of
I'm kind of leaning towards a different one.
nobody's bigger.
Didn't
No-
you say CM Punk what was it, the Ring the Bell or something?
I mean, you
guys
said it
did a
was like the
couple weeks
biggest
ago?
return in the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
But
Well, return for sure, but the surprise.
I mean, it's the biggest surprise.
I don't-
His merch says "Hell froze over." I mean, I don't know how it gets.
You're just arguing for argument's sake.
No, I'm really not. I think people who truly understand what's going on knew that CM Punk was going to show up at some point. It wasn't really a surprise for me.
We could do that.
I mean, I knew it was coming back at some point.
So who else would you put in that?
Well, if we're not going to include it, I was going to say Edge going to AEW. I thought it was a pretty big surprise.
It was definitely not a surprise.
And it kind of was a little bit.
It was way less of a surprise than
it was
CM
a
Punk.
it was a surprise that happened over time. I didn't think I never thought it to be. You thought at the beginning of the year that Edge would be at AEW at the end of the year? No, I didn't.
I didn't know his contract was up, but as soon as
so
I knew
I didn't say that.
as soon as I knew his contract was up, I was like, yeah, he'll go to AEW for sure.
I think
Whereas
Jeremy's going to argue with anything I say. I don't think it's the other way around.
I guess that
I
depends
don't argue at all.
who talks first, but I will. I will negotiate with you and include storyline of the year because that makes sense.
That's fair.
And we can always add more next year if we really want to, but I feel like 6 is an appropriate amount. So,
are we going to have an award that we ship to these guys when they get
they get a Divas title?
the botch of the year certainly should get a Divas title. But yeah, some of this is going to be a little bit up to interpretation too. I mean, botch spot.
I was about to say, clarify botch. What are we like?
I think I made it pretty clear. Like, high spot is the apex, the best moment of the year across the entire industry.
Inside or outside?
Inside, outside the ring, doesn't
companies.
matter. And then your botch spot would be like the worst moment, the lowest low. Could been for you. It might have been.
Don't say anything.
For you, it might have been.
Don't say anything. It might ruin mine.
You might say Ric Flair being signed to AEW if I was to guess.
it.
That's his high spot.
Okay. And that might be my high spot.
That's
that
Dan's high spot. Ric Flair and AEW.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not. That's not really inside the ring, right? He's signed.
I might be a troll with some of these.
When aren't you?
I might be a troll just to get Jeremy fired up over there and Matt. You two like the same thing, so really, I'm giving both of you.
Well, we're wrestling fans. You're a sports entertainment.
Yeah.
fan.
Okay, that's fair.
That's true.
That's actually fair.
I think it's actually a
I
relatively.
can care less sometimes about the actual wrestling matches themselves. I like the moments.
Yeah.
Dude, he doesn't watch our shows. This is what we were talking about on Falls Count Anywhere last week.
That's the beauty of being the GM is you don't have to smell your product. That's the beauty about it.
Steve, do I watch any of the shows here?
All 3 of them.
That's
he watches
okay, then.
none of them.
There was that one time where he watched an episode of one for a very specific reason. It was something with CM Punk.
That's very modest of you. You must not like the sound of your own voice. Is that what it is?
No. Which one was that I watched?
I don't remember, but you were all like, I'm going to put on Wrestling with Business where Jeremy and Matt come in, and you were putting it on the TV over there, and Mike and I just kind of like watched along with you.
Oh, I was rewatching the episode, yeah.
Well,
On
that being
note,
said, I would love to hear in advance you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe. Specifically, I want to see comments below on what you feel best show, best match, most improved performer, high spot, botch spot, and storyline of the year. And if we get any good ones, we can maybe read them off, especially if they support my argument. We can definitely make sure that they get included. So please share them down below if you got them. And in the meantime, you keep watching. And oh yeah, of course, have a happy holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy
to
As
look
much
at
as,
this
as, much as we
Happy-
argue, happy holidays to both of you
Christmas,
guys.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or whatever it is you're celebrating, Festivus. You keep watching. We'll keep wrestling with the business.